Hello, I'm Dudley Thompson, and welcome again to WDT Media TV. And again, please like, share, and subscribe. We're trusting that you're having a wonderful day and that this latest upload will find you in the best of health. There's a common saying that only a stupid person do the same thing over and over and over and expect a different result. Now, this case in particular, when you come on to the elections, as you know by now, the elections is over and done, and the GLP won, as we all know, and despite the PNP conceding that they have lost, and they accept that the people have spoken, and also results, there's still this lingering issue about the seat in West Central St. Andrew. And so maybe asking as to why the PNP is making such a big issue about this seat that was won by the Prime Minister, the same seat that has been winning for the past 5 or so elections. Make that the past 4 elections. And in politics, what works for one, not necessarily will work for all. For example, you can remember back in the 1990s, PJ Patterson demonized Edward Seaga to the point where Seaga couldn't win an election. And PJ was successful in winning 3 terms at the polls. Now we're seeing where the PNP is trying to demonize Andrew Holness. And it's not worked so far. You can go back to 2020 in that elections where Peter Phillips and his campaign strategy was to target Andrew Holness building this big house. Yes? He went on the campaign trail that year and his focus was on Andrew Holness building a big house. Did not work then, he lost by a landslide. Come 2025, the PNP / Rise United focus was not on failed JLP policies nor JLP scandals that they knew about a lot, that rocked the JLP over the years. It was not their focus. Their focus was on the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness. Their campaign trail over the past 2 years was focused on Andrew Holness possessed 28 bank accounts, and that Andrew Holness' statutory declaration cannot be certified, and that he has been accused of illicit enrichment. That's what the focus of the PNP for the past 2 years, solely on Andrew Holness. They put on the back burner the choice to do the hard political work in order to get to Garden House. They assumed that their ticket to Garden House would be to demonize Andrew Holness as a shortcut way to get to Garden House. And again, in 2025, we all see it simply did not work. But the attacks continue. And now, the attack is now to cause doubt in the minds of Jamaicans, so they can start to think that Andrew Holness didn't win his seat legitimately. That's the doubt they want to cast in the mind of Jamaicans right now. But when the election results were announced, the PNP leader, that's Mark Golding, made his concession speech, accepting defeat, and said, the people have spoken.
Jamaica, who are listening, watching, first of all, I think it's my duty as a believer in democracy to acknowledge and concede the result and to congratulate our opponents, the Jamaica Labour Party, for their victory tonight. It is very, very important that we put democracy ahead of all of those feelings. And I accept the result of these elections And although obviously I'm very disappointed in the outcome, I think it is only correct to expressly acknowledge the success that our opponents have managed to gain today.
But while the party leader is saying that people have spoken and they have accepted the result, and congrats to the JLP, his own PNP candidate, Paul Buchanan, has now filed a motion to void the results of that seat in Central St. Andrew. And that's clear that something is not making much sense, or again, just not adding up. And they also said that based on legal advice, they'll not be seeking recount in that particular seat.
Advice that we have received from our lawyers who attended the final counts is that a magisterial recount is unlikely to change the outcome in any of the seats. In the case of West Central St. Andrew, however, the nature of the irregularities which took place there is being carefully scrutinized in anticipation of a case being brought to the constituted authority.
Well, the PNP is claiming irregularities in the West Central St. Andrew seat, ballot box delay, vote tampering, and all those stuff without a shred of evidence to date. And we have now seen in a report from officials in the polling stations to substantiate such a claim by the PNP. And again, this begs the question, is this challenge, is it based on facts? Or is it based on hearsay? Or is it based on something posted on social media? Or just a witch hunt? Or continuation to demonize Andrew Holness? Alright, to see if what the PNP is saying make any sense, let's look at the numbers in that seat over the past 4 elections and see how the past results compare to the one in 2025. Let's now look at the numbers in that area or that seat since 2011. You can see there on your screen. In 2011, Andrew Holness won the seat over the PNP's Patrick Roberts, and he amassed 7,799 votes compared to Patrick Roberts 6,760, a margin of over 1,039 votes. In 2016, again, Andrew Holness again beat Patrick Roberts. Holness got 6,933 votes compared to Patrick Roberts 5,875, a margin of over 1,058 votes. The last elections in 2020, when the emphasis was on Ole's Big House by Dr. Peter Phillips, and again he won over Patrick Roberts, and he got 7,199 votes compared to Patrick Roberts 3,925, a margin of 3,274. And in 2025, when the PNP focused on the Prime Minister's statutory declaration cannot be certified, saying he has 28 bank accounts and that he was under investigation for illicit enrichment, the Prime Minister won the seat again, 7,054 votes, compared to Paul Buchanan's 4,953, a margin of 2,101. And if you look at the voting pattern, the last 4 elections, it's almost similar. The Prime Minister between 6,900 to 7,000 odd votes, and the PNP 5,000 and below. So it's a constant trend in their constituency. So the question is, why the big hullabaloo now? After the trend of voting in that area remains constant, as you can see by the factual graph there on your screen. These are facts here, not propaganda. So again, this begs the question, why the PNP is so focused on this seat without a shred of evidence? That's the question. Why? That is the big question as to why the PNP is so focused on Southwest St. Andrew without any evidence. And to me, this action is less about trying to overturn the result. It's more about to create a narrative that Andrew Holness won the seat by some illegal means, or he stole the seat. You want to plant that narrative in the minds of Jamaicans. But the thing is, will it work? In 2030, we just have to wait and see. If all attempt to demonize the Prime Minister has failed so far, including, I said to you earlier, in 2020, when Dr. Peter Phillips focused on his big house. That was his campaign strategy. Then, talk about this man building this big house in Beverly Hills. Did not work. 2025, Rise United PNP came with this thing about the Prime Minister having 28 bank accounts and about the statutory declaration cannot be certified and is under investigation for illicit enrichment. Those were the focus for the past 2 years on the campaign. And despite the PNP/Rise were advised to change the tone because it's not working, they didn't listen. So they continued on the same trend, trying to focus on the Prime Minister and lost the elections. Simply because they failed to do the hard political work. They believe that to demonize the Prime Minister will be their ticket to Garden House. So now, this one now, could this be the trend going forward for 2030? Where Jamaicans might start to think that Andrew didn't win the seat legitimately. And that could be their focus going forward. We just have to wait and see if this is a new plan for the PNP to attack Andrew Holness. Let's wait and see what will develop as things go along. Stay tuned, all right? I'm Dudley Thompson, and again, please like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, thanks for watching.